How do you think? Do you think Cleveland is the worst city
No.
in the world?
No, it's got its fun spots. I enjoy some things about it.
People say Winnipeg is the worst city in the world, though. So,
Yeah, well, those people have lived in Winnipeg their entire lives and never traveled.
well, and that's where we're from, Tyler. That your name is.
And I'm not Willows. That your name is.
Oh yeah, you're not even from here. You don't even go here.
I thought we were friends.
Are we not? We're just business
were.
partners. Welcome to Alcohol Beyond This Point, the podcast where we discuss business topics, both sober and drunk, just like the ancient Persians did in their parliament. We already said our names, I guess, so I guess we can just
What
jump.
is up with your hair?
Is it bad? I think it looks fine.
Well, it's like pulled straight back at your hairline. There's like no part. It's just like folded over. Like you've been. Were you wearing a hairnet today?
I was wearing a toque.
A toque. Okay.
I think I probably put it in a toque right after I showered. So.
Oh, that would explain it.
Because I wear like $1,000 suits with like a toque with my brand on it and free Tellus sunglasses.
I was gonna say you usually have like the limp, overused elastic,
Hair tie?
panty looking face mask, and then a really loose toque.
It actually is your sister's underwear.
It was so bad.
Let's just roll this again.
That was so weak.
Hi, welcome to Call Me On This Point. We're drinking some craft beer today. We have some white shell vodka sodas.
And Bombay Sapphire,
and
which is also craft beer.
It's it's craft beer, but gin and owned by a big company. How's your day today? You said it was busy, I think, right?
Yeah. It was one of those nonstop days where I got up. I got to work an hour early today for some reason. Like the cat woke me up and I couldn't fall back asleep. So when I went to work an hour early and just got in a good flow, was just grinding it out. Took maybe a 15-minute break out of an 11-hour shift, and just like no wasted time, no fucking around, just like completely focused, grinding it out the entire day, which paid off. And then it's just been like nonstop. I was like on the way here, I like scheduled in my drive-through run into like my day. So like I hit the drive-through on the way here, and I'm like eating as I'm driving down Portage Avenue getting to your house. Well, actually I went to a client's house first, and then I came here and grabbed beer on the way. So it's been like minute to minute.
Yeah, and you even beat me here.
Yeah.
So,
and I was on time and you fucking weren't. So.
I was trying. I've been my days are getting busier. Coming up to the busy season. Feels like shit. I was gonna ask, do you find it lethargic when you have a day that's just hard but long but where was I going with this? Also good. I mean, also like you accomplish a lot. You find it good?
Yeah, I mean, if I feel like I accomplished a lot, if it was long and shitty, then
Yeah, fair.
then I just feel like extra mad.
Well, they say it's there's a difference between productivity and activity.
Yeah.
You can be at work all day, and that's the difference between like work smart, not hard, right? Where always you hear people, they're like, "Oh, yeah, I work 8 hours a day." It's like, well, okay, but are you being productive for 8 hours a day?
Yeah, in most cases not. And today was one of those rare cases where I was like solidly productive for like 11 hours straight.
Did you do anything different? Is there any way we can frame this into a tip for the audience?
I would say don't shy away from the habits that pay you dividends tomorrow, even though they suck.
Such as?
So just a little bit of extra preparation for tomorrow. It's like the opposite of entropy, right? What's it called again? It's like
entropy. The opposite of entropy.
Anyways, whatever the word is. No, it starts with an N. Negentropy or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, the opposite of entropy is
the N word.
The idea is if you do your if you keep your habits consistent.
Antitropy.
Yeah.
You keep your consistent habits. Wait, I'm fucking wasted.
What is wrong with you? You okay?
I'm having a little bit of dental pain.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say mental.
No, I always have. No, I have a lot of mental pain. I'm having a little bit of dental pain over here. I tapped all my teeth, and none of them seem to hurt.
That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I guess it's more like. But I'm certain. I don't want to say certain. I'm 90% sure I had this wisdom tooth out already. And it feels like a wisdom tooth. Maybe it was this side. No, I'm pretty sure it was this side.
I don't know. It could be a cavity. It could be another wisdom tooth.
There's two on the same side?
I mean, there could be. Anything's possible.
It's true. Last time I got a wisdom tooth out, I didn't go to the dentist for like 6 weeks after it started hurting. Until I couldn't eat.
I remember that.
And then I went, and then I made the appointment, and then I'm like, like, is it urgent? I'm like, not really. And I like couldn't talk without it crying. It's fine. I don't have days off.
Well, you took one anyways.
Not really though, right? I think I went back to work afterwards.
It's just loopy.
It's just T3s.
That's fair. That's just an average Tuesday.
Yeah. Oh no, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't have them put me under. I just had them freeze it.
Yeah.
Because it was cheaper, and it was only one. Maybe if it was all four, I would have had them put me under. But yeah, it was only one, and so I just let them freeze it or whatever. It was fine. And yeah, it's just T3s they give you. Like I'm not gonna get high on T3s. What am I, a fucking college kid? Yeah, I think
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I think they gave me like 30. I used like 5 for medicinal and then 25 for recreational.
Oh my god, I just saw what you put on the board.
More like Ghanaianism.
Got him.
Got him.
Wow. Tell the USSR that Willows called and he said, got him.
I've been rating the systems.
What?
Number 1, fascism.
Oh, rating. I thought you meant raiding.
Number 2, capitalism.
Okay.
Number 3, and then all the way at the bottom, communism.
So, who would you choose to be
Me.
the head of your
With
fascist
the dictator?
state?
Me. Is that what you were asking? Yes.
No.
Okay,
No.
fascism where I'm the dictator, number
No.
1. Fascism where someone else is the dictator, number 100.
Yeah, that's how fascism works.
Everyone hates except the person in charge.
Also how communism works, to be fair.
To be fair. That's also how capitalism works. Wait.
I think we just reached a decision. That's not how capitalism works. Therefore, ergo,
glove doesn't fit, must acquit.
speaking of acquit,
Been following this Derek Chauvin trial.
yeah, he was not acquit.
He was not acquit. He was found guilty on 3 different murder charges.
Yeah.
Piece of shit.
You gotta remember, there's still going to be an appeals process. You'll probably appeal like fucking. Well, obviously you'll appeal at least once, but I'm assuming every time now and forever. So we get to relive this every couple of years. It'll be awesome.
My dad asked me what I thought about it, and I said, every so often you gotta throw one to the wolves to keep everyone else safe.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it.
I think that's what they're doing is, well, because there was another shooting like by the courthouse.
Yeah.
Nothing happened there. Like I was reading like 150,000 officer involved shooting or killings. This is the 6th actual conviction with jail time.
I think it's probably the 6th conviction period. Sure.
But yeah, you were saying like what is it? 10% only get charges laid, and then another.
No, it's like 1%.
Yeah, okay.
1% get charges, and of those charges, most of them they will either plead out or be acquitted completely. And then of those that get convicted, a lot of those get overturned.
Yeah.
And of most of the convictions, it's for relatively minor crimes, like not murder levels. Like you could like murder somebody and then you get like a misdemeanor for reckless endangerment or something like that. So yeah, an actual murder charge is exceedingly rare.
So what are we thinking? I think like the system's like, holy shit, we're gonna get protested, and this is going to be anarchy unless we'll just use this guy as our scapegoat.
I feel like there was a general sense of like it's the police unions here that are really kind of have this that are the ones that we're talking about. It's the unions that make these decisions of who they back and how strong. And I think they realized that it was probably a pretty bad bet. Like they did the political calculus on it, and there was not really anything to be gained by Derek Chauvin getting off.
Yeah.
And this is actually a comment that I made to my girlfriend probably halfway through the trial. I was listening to some of the remarks by the defense and just followed the entire trial. And my impression was it was a very weak defense. Like it's like they brought the C team to the trial
because they wanted him to get guilty so that they could. Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. They're sacrificing him,
and it's the police union that pays for the lawyers. Like
because
I'm pretty sure that it was just the police union is like, hey, let's send in the C team or the B team and just tell this guy, try your best, and not really put up an actual fight.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, I mean, like, it's. I was reading a bunch of tweets of people being like, finally we get justice. But then I think it was Immortal Technique, who's a hip-hop artist who's pretty conscious. He's a far left, kind of guy. And he said something like, this isn't justice. Like, justice would be him, like, with George Floyd not being killed in the first place. Cops not being able to kill people. Wouldn't, like, have a system where this is even a question.
Yeah,
would be fair and just. This is just accountability, barely, if that, right? Like,
yeah, it's the beginning of accountability, and like even Biden made his remarks. He's like, he acknowledged that this was a new beginning, blah blah blah, whatever presidents are supposed to say when this shit happens, but like very clearly didn't acknowledge how many people had been killed.
Also,
during the trial,
his vice president is the king of cops. Like,
yeah, that's fair.
So he picked the copest cop to be his vice president. Oh, we care about Black lives.
Yeah,
like, no one gives a fuck. It's just world keeps turning.
I think it's like on the optimistic side. This is as optimistic as I'll get about it. I see it as like a ratchet click towards progress. If you look at the 200 years of history in the US and Canada, like it's like one click over to progress. I think it's not nothing. I think historically it's going to have some significance. I think it's going to have some cultural significance, but I think just like anything else, this little bit of progress is going to be it's going to swing back the other way, and then, swing back forward, swing back the other way, swing back forward. So, like,
I think
this doesn't really solve anything. It's just a bump in the road that's a good bump.
I think Western culture is a failed social experiment, and it's a lost cause, and we're all doomed. Did I stump you?
I just find that statement annoying.
Over the top vitriolic?
No, just because it's like I said to Zach the other day, it's an easy way out.
By saying it's a lost cause and I don't need to do anything?
Yeah. It's an easy out, and it just allows you to just write everything off. Like that's why people get apolitical, because they're like, nothing matters anyways, and then nobody does anything. Like that's the real, like, if you ask me, that's that's the real agenda of politicians,
making people apathetic towards everything.
It's either you're like ultra polarized and fired up, or you're apathetic because you're so sick and tired of the bullshit.
It's the same reason why people don't vote third party, because they're like, whoa, let's just throw my vote away because they're never going to win.
Well, no, a lot of people vote third party.
Well, statistically.
Yeah, well, a lot of people vote third party, and often, and sometimes even win as in protest in opposition to both other parties, but it doesn't happen broadly at the same time.
Like that dog is a mayor in
Yeah.
that place.
Yeah, well, that's just wholesome, though.
I like him.
That wasn't in protest to anything. That was just a good decision.
Maybe it was a protest to no belly rubs.
I doubt that's an issue.
I bet you ask fucking dog mayor, he'll say no belly rubs is an issue.
I'm saying that's probably not happening.
Oh, because people give him belly rubs?
He's probably got an assistant.
Do you see the guy that played Spider in School of Rock? Is a like U.S. senator.
I can't even place the face.
He's like naked, and he like hits on what's her name at the end, the principal.
That sounds
Okay, he's like
realistic.
He's like a Texas state senator now.
That tracks.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Well, I mean, fucking Kane the wrestler is a fucking like governor.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, that is pretty much American nobility.
WWE fighters.
Yeah, that's American nobility.
that's controversial.
I don't think so. Maybe just to us.
Maybe, yeah. Or, well, I mean, Schwarzenegger was the governor of California for like what?
Yeah, but he's a genius.
Schwarzenegger?
Okay, maybe not a genius, but he's got his shit together.
Yeah, he has like a bunch of pet llamas,
Wow.
and I just see him on like Instagram. He's like, "Oh, my llama," they're like in his house. It's fine.
Fuck, what celebrity was this? He loves pigs.
Don't we all?
George Clooney
George Clooney loves pigs.
loves pigs.
Of course.
He has he's always had like a pet like potbelly pig, and his pig saved his life once because
Of course.
It freaked out, like woke him up, was freaking out, so he whatever took it out for a walk, and then an earthquake happened and his building collapsed.
That's interesting.
So this pig saved his life, so he's like had a potbelly pig with him for like ever since. This was like when he was like young, before he was a star, but
Do you think pigs know something that we don't?
yeah,
Hmm.
they're actually the Illuminati.
So pigs want us to be apolitical.
Yes. Where's this going?
I don't know. We haven't had a like good point. We haven't caught our footing yet.
No, it's okay.
Usually we catch it sooner than this.
Yeah, I still want to talk about George Clooney and his piggy.
Ooh.
It's kind of gross.
I don't think so.
I really want an opportunity at some point in my life just to yell at a cop.
I yell at cops all the time.
But like when I say yell at a cop, I don't mean actually yell at a cop. I mean like I want to sit down and have an intellectual conversation with someone that's like a diehard cop. Just to kind of like poke and prod and see and like what's inside your head.
You never like talked to you grew up with a ton of people that are fucking
I grew up
hardcore
around them, but like
conservatives,
yeah,
like-
well, but I was, young.
You know how these people think. Like it's
I know,
just like
I know how they think, but that's why like I want to like actually have an open debate, open conversation with a cop. Be like, come mildly prepared and be like, okay, why do you think that your department is in any way necessary or defensible?
So what you're saying is we should get a cop on the podcast.
I think that'd be a bad idea.
I think that'd be an awesome idea. Get him drunk.
That'd be
He
really.
shoots me.
That's most likely where it would end.
Honestly,
That'd be a really bad idea.
I think that'd be a really good idea. That'd be a really good fucking episode. Okay, me and the cop just fucking argue and you moderate.
You wouldn't argue though.
What do you mean?
You would just provoke him until he shoots you.
Yeah, but that's good content.
I guess.
Willows, you would just provoke him. It's fine. I called a parking cop a fascist the other day.
Man, those guys get it so rough.
Yeah, fuck him. I was, I wiped he put a chalk mark on someone's tire and I wiped it off when I walked past.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Ugh," and I'm like, you fucking fascist. And just walked past him. Like,
That's pretty good.
they're like, it's them, it's parking cops, it's building permits. Like, how do you think the police gets funded?
Yeah.
Like, that's where it's coming from.
Okay, talk about that, the tweet of like, forget forget setting dumpsters on fire.
Oh yeah. Okay, so there's a lot every time there's a big event that people protest, right? Like when George Floyd got murdered, people took the streets in tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, right? Whenever there's an event like that, you always have the two sides. You have the one side that's thinks it's good, and the other side that thinks it's bad, right? The people are always like, well, if you have a good point, you wouldn't need to fucking riot, right? Where you always hear like, I'm okay with protesting, but the looting, like, you know, as soon as they start saying that, it's like, okay, you're just racist, whatever.
Yeah, clearly you've never had anything to stand for.
Yeah. But
you never had to stand for anything.
But there's this person that's like, okay, you know what? I kind of see both sides. So what are we trying to do here? Like, what are we trying to accomplish? Like going out with no, just angry, with no aim isn't really accomplishing anything. So what we need to do, get everyone out on the street, and we take everyone's license plates off. Every single person's license plate.
Yeah, split into groups.
And just take every single person's license plate in the entire city. What would they do? Because everyone would be like getting tickets and speeding, and they'd be like, why do you have a license plate? It's like, sorry, it got stolen. Like, you could just take off your license plate now and just blame the mob that was stealing the license plates, and that's completely plausible. It would take them months to figure it out.
Yeah, and the city would be at a standstill. They'd be like, you can't drive. They have to come up with like a temporary permit system, which would take them a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Like it would be chaos. It would cost the city so much money.
Love it. Yeah, I like. Yeah.
Like bring power tools is the moral of the story.
Yeah.
Bring power tools. Come prepared. Like don't destroy things. Just disassemble them, rearrange them, relocate them.
I guess what the kind of right-wing argument against like looting and like the protests or whatever, it ended up being a lot of private business owners, innocent people that got their businesses ruined.
Right.
And, you know, I can empathize with that, obviously, but then it's also like, stop murdering black people, right? Like, just stop it. If you just stopped it, then it wouldn't like
I think we've talked about it a bunch, but like it's not something that I think is a valid argument against a protest. Is like you're costing people money. It's like, yeah, okay, I get it. That's why it's a protest, is because you're causing damage. You're creating a cost to the city, to the economy, to the people, to everyone. You're creating shit for society to deal with. That's why it's a protest. Like if a protest doesn't inconvenience or cost anyone anything, it's not
an effective
it's
protest.
Not really effective.
Yeah.
Like look at the ultimate protest of Myanmar. Like right now, their protest consists of catastrophic damage to private businesses, and they're willingly doing it to themselves for the sake of making a point, because it could also hurt. Because like they're like, okay, we're going to kill our own country just because we'd rather have it dead than have it under this military dictatorship.
April 19th, 1992, there was a riot in the street. Tell me, where were you? Well, you were at home watching your TV. I was participating in some anarchy. First stop we made it was the liquor store. Okay, sorry.
What song is that?
Really? I think it's April 19th. April 19th, 1992 by Sublime. It's about the Rodney King vote riots.
Ah.
And he's like, and then we stopped at a music store. Where do you think I got this guitar that you're hearing today? It's pretty good. It's a good song.
Yeah, like that's what kind of comes to mind is like the Rodney King killing, where that's another example of, that's probably the closest parallel to George Floyd, because it was such
very similar.
Yeah, it was a very slow process of killing this person.
Yeah. And
there was clearly intent and decision behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if it would have just been two cops or one cop that beat him to death with like the same time frame and circumstance and whatever, You think they're... I'm never mind. There's 92. There's no way he would have been convicted. But maybe there would have been
I don't
higher
think,
chance because like the mob defense, I feel like almost probably worked in their favor.
Because they all got acquitted.
Yeah.
All 6 of them or whatever, and that's why there was a riot.
Right.
Because... And then that was the famous LA riots, right?
Yeah.
And then that was the great picture. Libertarian groups always use the famous picture of the grocery store Asians. You know what I'm talking about? There's a great picture of this guy smiling. Okay, basically like, so as the riots moved into like Koreatown or whatever,
yeah,
all these grocery store owners got up on the roof of their grocery store with like rifles. To defend their grocery store.
Yeah.
And there's a great picture of this like young, Asian man with like using a rifle as like a walking stick, just smiling. And like he ran for like some political party like last year or something.
Nice.
If I recall, I'll put it up on the screen if I remember. If you're watching the video version of this podcast on youtube.com/votewillows, you can see all the little quips and stuff I put on the screen during the episodes. But yeah, that was like a libertarian icon. It's like these Asians that are like defending their grocery store with guns.
I mean, did they kill anyone?
I don't know. I think many people died. If like dozens of people died, I think.
Yeah, well,
in the riots, like just from bullshit.
To bring it back to Myanmar, like the ultimate cost that whatever they're paying, like I was listening to one of the reporters. They're saying it was a good day when only 12 people were killed.
Yeah, and
it's just senseless slaughter at this point. Like there's varying degrees like of protest and of issues to protest. Like it's such a stupid point to make, to say that that's not a valid way to protest, because it clearly that's
clearly it is if you're arguing about it.
If you were being oppressed in any way, if there was someone you cared about that was killed, like, would you give a fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's not the point.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
That's not how riots work. I'm sorry. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, it's inconvenient. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's how they work.
Fun fact, the largest riot that Canada's had in over 100 years was when the Vancouver Canucks lost or won the Stanley Cup.
I think it was a game that they won.
It was they won the Stanley Cup, and we fucking burnt down Vancouver. Like, they were torching cop cars in the street. I don't know why. Like, what happened?
It was fine. It got out of hand.
It got out of hand. They were torching cars and shit. I think people died. Like
it's just people get excited. Like, happy, sad, mad, whatever. Like, people get excited. It's just, and that's the thing. It's not the mob in general. It's just, that 1% that decides to make them a Molotov and toss it.
That's how Stonewall happened. Was like the Stonewall riots were like widely renowned, I think, is why like LGBT people have rights. They like got the right to vote because of that riot, started it. And it was like this big demonstration, and this trans woman, I think, I'll put their name on the screen if I can remember, threw a fucking like brick through a cop car, and that was what started the clash. Yeah, which ended up being like a multi-day riot, which ended up in like gay marriage being legal.
Yeah, there's a good number of like proper insurrections and protests that have been started by like LGBT groups.
When does a protest when does a riot become a revolution? When we overthrow the government?
I think so, yeah. Okay. It has to succeed.
So I'm thinking like Cuba.
Yeah, it has to succeed.
Well, I guess the thing with like Cuba was that they had a guerrilla army.
Right.
It was organized. Maybe that's a different. It's like it was organized.
Well, I like the only difference between a political riot and an insurrection and a revolution would be
who's on the winning side.
Yeah, because an insurrection by definition is like a riot for like political motivations, like an attempt to overthrow whatever the sitting government, whatever. Like that's why the January 6th riot was considered an insurrection because of that. Like, also, it's a direct assault on Cuba's sovereignty.
Like, Batista wasn't democratically elected. He was appointed by the United States.
Right.
But Joe Biden was democratically elected. That's another difference.
Correct.
Like that, you disposing a despot. There's some alliteration for you.
Well, no, to be fair, like if Antifa went and overthrew the White House, that would be
successfully.
That would be revolution.
I guess history is written by the victor, right?
Yeah. I don't know. We're trying to define things we don't understand. It's fine. It's not really important. But
yeah, politics aren't important. That's what I've been saying.
Yeah, on the conversation of not important or politics, the reason that politics are important.
Hey, wait.
There's a law that the Republican Party is really, really working hard on right now. That's basically going to make it a felony to protest against police.
Well, as it should be.
Like to protest police action.
The boys in blue should be a protected group.
Yeah, I'm not even going to respond to that. And so they're going to make it a felony to basically protest, and like it's going to be deemed an unlawful assembly and like whatever felony charges.
Brown, blue, yellow, or pink. I don't care what you are. You should all be protected. Blue especially.
Blue especially, well, not the other colors. Actually, none of the other colors.
I haven't really been following this American one, but there's a city councilor here in Winnipeg that's trying to put forward a motion that it would make it a hate crime to like insult the police. Like in our Charter of Rights, there's a specific protected, like free speech does not extend to insulting protected groups, which is like race, ethnicity, marital status, like sexual orientation, all that. There's like a list. They want to put law enforcement in that list.
Huh.
And like this is like, yeah, fucking mental. Like this is a crazy person. This is an insane man with a position of somewhat, I think he's like a city councilor, so probably not that much power, but this is an insane person. He thinks that insulting a police officer should be a crime.
A hate crime.
Like, and then I saw a great where someone retweeted it from Winnipeg Twitter and was like, with the Office, where Steve Carell's like, I've been a victim of a hate crime, and Stanley's like, that's not what a hate crime is, Michael. And he's like, well, I hated it.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
And the second part of this law that they're passing is an impunity for counter-protesters.
Oh, yeah, you can kill protesters and get away with it, essentially.
Essentially, yeah. So if you're like the Proud Boys and you're a 42-year-old bear of a man with an assault rifle...
Whoops, ran over Antifa with my Jeep.
Right, and there's like some...
They shouldn't have been in the road, that's illegal.
Some 19-year-old kid, that's whatever, protesting in Black Bloc, and you mortally wound them and assault them. It's virtual impunity, like almost at the same level that a peace officer would have. Like it's they're not even trying at this point. Yeah, they're like impunity for cops. It's hate speech if you don't like it, and if the white supremacists come, they get impunity too.
That's what a fascist state is. Like that is what.
Like they're just doing this shit out in the open. It's like the America First caucus. They're not even trying to fucking hide it anymore. Like they're getting bold because it's getting widely accepted.
Which is what Nazi Germany did. Like Hitler was in power.
Where is our beer hall putsch? Beer hall putsch.
Beer hall putsch. Beer hall putsch. Ah, my mic almost fell. So
I'm so glad we don't have beer halls. Otherwise, we'd absolutely be in a fascist state right now.
We should join.
That's why COVID happened, because the radical left is preventing the beer halls from putsching.
The communists created COVID,
so the beer halls couldn't putsch.
So that oh my god.
We figured it out.
Okay.
Thanks, China. Kung flu over here.
Thanks, Kung flu. Like, I'll admit it's racist. That's pretty fucking funny. That's a good one.
I think he was like smirking when he said it too.
Do you think he came up with that, or did a branding agent?
I'm 100% sure he did.
Because no self-respecting branding person.
No.
Kung flu is so fucking funny. Like, I was crying the first time I heard that. Like, mostly because
like this is beyond parody at this point.
Because that is something that South Park would have the president of the United States saying on television.
Yeah.
As like a joke.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, we're gonna they're gonna biological weapons us. Oh, I'm not afraid of your kung flu. That's like a 2010 South Park episode. But this is the president of the United Goddamn States.
I think it's 100% got to be him.
It's just such a meme.
Oh
no, he is quick-witted. I'll give it. Like Trump does have.
Oh yeah, no, he's
like
guy's got bars.
Yeah,
I mean, look at him on The Apprentice.
Yeah, well, The Apprentice is different because
probably scripted.
It's scripted, but you watch him in the debates, especially with like Hillary. He had a fucking who built the cages, Joe.
Yeah,
like they couldn't have possibly known.
No, he's brilliant in debates.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Well, except for the first one that he did.
Dude, I miss Trump, honestly. There's no memes. Have you seen a Biden meme? Like, it sucks.
Yeah, I know. If there are memes, it's like it's normal kind of memes.
Memes.
I actually read an article today that really made me laugh because I think I've said before on the podcast that like Don Jr. is going to be
run against AOC 2030 or whatever.
Yeah, which I mean still might happen, but I think it's really funny thinking about like the context of who he is because like Don Sr. has always fucking hated his son. Like he's always thought he was like the biggest disappointment. Like
Donald Trump doesn't like Don Jr.
No, he thinks that Don Jr. like ruined his namesake.
Okay.
Because he's such a disappointment.
Who's Eric? Is that another kid?
Yeah, Eric is the one who like actually runs like the Trump organization and does the real estate business.
And then who's Jared Kushner?
Jared is Ivanka's husband.
My real estate agent.
Yeah.
Is also named Jared Kushner.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really weird.
That's problematic.
It's fine.
But my favorite story that I think Ivanka told this story, but
Ooh.
apparently Don Sr. whatever is picking up his son from whatever Penn State. They're gonna
Penitentiary?
Yeah, they're gonna go to a baseball game, and Junior comes out wearing a jersey. Fucking Trump just full hand slaps him across the face without a word. Says, "Take that shit off. Go put a suit on. And get back out here."
How old was he?
Like 22.
We're going to a baseball game and you're wearing a suit?
Yeah.
That's me.
But like slapping the shit out of your son for not wearing a suit to a baseball game, like
me as a father.
Yeah, like absolutely hilarious. And then
child abuse. Wait, he was 22?
Yeah.
Okay, we can laugh.
It's
then.
fine.
It's not child
abuse.
abuse.
It's just assault.
If it was child abuse, it would be one thing. Continue.
So, whatever. Don Jr.'s got his own podcast, which is apparently wildly successful, like top 20 podcast. And he had whatever his dad on, and he like it's the most cringe-worthy moment.
You can just tell he doesn't
on a cringy podcast from a cringy person, and he asks Trump if he's the favorite.
Like kind of as a joke?
Yeah, kind of like as a joke, but you can tell it's not totally as a joke.
Yeah.
Because he's like, have I earned your approval yet? Because now I'm a political pundit. And whatever. He gets shot down, and Trump just fucking roasts him, and it just gets awkward. And like Trump is like annoyed and like doesn't back down. And Junior's like trying to save the moment, but also like still trying to get validated. Like you can tell he's hurt. Like,
you can tell he's insecure, right?
Yeah, no, it was just like 60 seconds of fucking brute, and he tried to like bring it back, and then he got shot down again, and
oof.
Yeah, it was really bad. It's like he doesn't like Trump doesn't hide the fact that he like doesn't approve of Don Jr.
It's not like Trump cares about anything, so
he doesn't give a fuck. He just wants everyone to know that he would fuck his daughter if.
Oof. Was that in a context that?
No, I don't think so.
He's like, if you weren't my daughter, I'd have sex with her or something.
It doesn't matter the context.
Well, I'd bang. What's her name? Ivana. What's her name?
Yeah, but she's not your daughter.
What's her name?
Ivanka.
Ivanka? No, I thought that was the wife. What's the wife? Melania, right?
Melania.
She was a porn star, right? No, yep. She was a nude model. She wasn't like she didn't have an OnlyFans.
Just because she's too old.
Fair.
Who knows? She might now.
How much money could she fucking make on OnlyFans
I can't
right
even
now?
Imagine.
Christ.
I would not count her. I would not count them out.
I'm subscribing. She could be one of those fucking celebrities that do like $29 fucking subscriptions. Like,
can you imagine?
Okay. We're quickly gonna do our segment called Shot Caller, and then
I forgot about that.
and then Tyler is going to try and convince me to buy a Cadillac.
Ooh.
So this is the segment that we like to call Shot Caller, the segment of the show where you, the audience, can pick the shot that we take. I don't know. While Tyler fixes the mic stand, I'm going to explain to you about Bombay Sapphire, which is fine.
It's fine.
It's a gin, and thank you, Bombay, for sponsoring this video. Cheers. It's fine.
Definitely got gin face on that one.
Yeah. So should I buy this car?
What car, Willows?
So
Put it up on the screen.
it's on the screen now. I've been doing a little bit better for money recently. Last
Year?
6 months, yeah, year, yeah. And I used to drive a 1979 Ford Thunderbird, like brown and cream,
Ooh.
like two-tone. It's a two-door, but it's 27 feet long, like 4,200 pounds, I think. Like,
I don't think it's 27 feet long, but
dude,
I think it's like 17 feet long. Maybe like 20 feet long.
dude.
The 27,
Okay.
27 feet is like vehicle with a trailer.
Yeah, okay. But it was a long fucking car. They had to invent saloon for it because it's a coupe, but it's too long to be, the wheelbase is too wide to be a coupe.
Right.
So it's a saloon technically. But yeah, I used to drive that when I was like 16, 17, 18. I ended up selling it. I had a bunch of problems with it because it was a fucking $1,400 piece of shit that I bought. But I also it was like I was just moving out of my parents' house, and I'm like, okay, now I have like bills to pay. I can't fucking pay petrol in a 4,000 pound car. But that's the kind of context. I've always loved these, and my business partner had a 1984 Mercury Grand Marquis as well that we used to fuck around in. And like, so I have a really like big attachment to these just fucking boats. Like I always loved they're awesome. The way they look, the way they drive, whatever. So recently, probably once a week, I just kind of go on Kijiji, which is like Craigslist in Canada. And I just go on classic cars. I just look at the first 5 pages just to see if there's anything, tasty. And yeah, I found this 1977 Cadillac Eldorado, purple. Like it's fucking gorgeous.
Fucking purple.
And safety, like it has a safety inspection. It's all ready to go. Like I wouldn't have to spend any money to get it running. Like it's all good. But here's my hang up, and this actually goes into a topic I want to talk about. Is it a smart idea as soon as I have a little bit of money, just go fucking spending it on bullshit? Because I feel like that's a big thing with a lot of people, is that as soon as they make it, they just start fucking, you know what I mean? Like they get their first, like you see it a lot in like young rappers, right? Will get their signing bonus. They fucking buy a $500,000 chain. They buy a Lamborghini. They buy a fucking house. And then
they're cash poor.
And then they're cash poor. Yeah. And then they owe the fucking, and then the label's taking all their earnings, and they're fucking just, having to sell all their jewelry and shit, right? It's like you see it a lot of people that make it, and then they just spend, because especially people that grew up poor, because this is the first time they've ever had the opportunity to buy stuff. Like I've never really had the opportunity when I was a kid to buy just stuff, anything I wanted.
Yeah, I don't think there's too much of a parallel here, because it's been a very slow burn and earning process for you to get to this point, and it's not like you're spending all your money or a crazy amount of money into it.
Yeah, it's like under 10 grand for context.
Yeah, like it's nothing that you couldn't like easily recover from or offload and cash out of.
I guess like just more on a principle, like you get to be a good investor, a good business person by being disciplined, right?
Yeah. There's also something to be said, the fact that you don't even have a car.
I just drive my company van.
Yeah, you've
It's
been
fine.
driving a company cargo van for a while. Like,
But I don't pay for it, and I don't pay for the fucking gas. Like,
yeah, but you're inevitably going to have a personal car at some point in your life. I think like there's nothing wrong with spending a bit of money into a personal car. First of all, it's cheap.
yeah.
It's not going to depreciate.
Because you were saying, yeah, buying a new car, as soon as you drive it off the lot, lose 50% of its value.
If you went and took your take your 10 grand and take a bunch of it, put it down on a new Lexus and lease a Lexus, I would say that was a bad idea.
Yeah.
In this context, but doing this, I don't see it as a bad idea because odds are pretty good you'll actually make money on this car.
Because this is a kind of a sweet spot. The 70s, 80s cars are kind of in a sweet spot where
it's low miles, like 50,000 miles on it.
Yeah, 80,000 K, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, the 70s, 80s cars are kind of in a sweet spot where they're cheap right now. Like, they're not selling for much. No one really wants them. But people really want like 60s cars that are in good shape, right?
Right.
So you buy this, hold on to it for a bit, and then all of a sudden it's worth more money.
Yeah.
In theory.
If you keep it,
okay.
If you keep it in good condition.
When I keep it in the garage here, I wouldn't try not to drive it in the winter. Like,
yeah, maintain it well. Don't winter drive it, and like 10, 20 years from now, you'll probably be able to quadruple your money on it.
Which is interesting. Well, yeah. So if you think of it like
your cost of ownership is effectively your gas and insurance, which you'd be paying anyways, and it's cheap insurance, and the gas won't be that bad.
Yeah.
Like, then it's not as bad as you'd think.
Mm-hmm.
Only downside is it's bad for the environment.
I don't give a shit. We're all gonna die in a nuclear holocaust before the environment kills us.
Probably. But these old cars are actually pretty efficient.
Yeah.
Like the saloon cars specifically, they don't use that much gas because
their momentum, they're so heavy.
Yeah, like they use a bunch of gas to kind of get moving, but like you're not driving it aggressively, you're not burning a lot of fuel, like you're just kind of puttering, or I guess you do.
I drive pretty aggressively. No, but I probably wouldn't drive it super aggressively because I'd just be cruising, right? Like, I wouldn't be like driving it to work every day.
Yeah, either way, I think having a personal car like that is not the worst idea because, I mean, you are also actively taking a bunch of your money that's coming in and investing it.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah.
It is not exactly the best time to buy like a rental property or a house right now.
That's what I was talking. I've been talking about this for months. Is that I think I want to buy a house soon. Like, I want to put down. I'm saving up for a down payment, and my credit's finally good enough that I could get a mortgage. But fuck, I'm reading an article about a guy who paid $100,000 over asking. Like,
yeah, well, that's one thing, but also the fact that real estate's not really your thing.
Does it need to be though?
No, it doesn't need to be. But like, when you're looking at what are your options for beginning your investment strategy, like, why not pick something that you have some kind of edge in? Like, why would you go and just throw money into something that you don't have any experience in?
I guess I wanted to buy a house to live in, though. To be fair.
Yeah, but we've
already had this debate. You thinking it was
that would be a bad investment.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you want to talk bad investment? That's a bad investment because you're not in a position where it makes any sense, and like, you could buy a rental property, sure, but you're not in kind of like rental property territory with money because
you need a lot of money for repairs and stuff.
Well, if anything went wrong, yeah, you'd be a lot more hard up for a solution than, for example, like I would be, because I can kind of wrench my way through a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I just don't think it's something that you need to jump into very quickly. So, like, buying a house doesn't super make sense. I mean, not that buying a car is that much better, but like,
it's nowhere near the same amount of commitment.
I mean, we're talking
10 grand. We're not talking 300 grand.
We're talking closer to 5.
Yeah, like closer to 7, but yeah.
Well, not so you're gonna pay full price.
Well, no.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're talking closer to $5,000. Like, what can you really do for $5,000 besides, like, if you want to throw it in the market and day trade it, like, that would be the only other thing that I would say would probably serve you really well right now.
My stocks are not I'm down like 4% this week.
Okay.
It's fine. I'm doing some long plays.
Yeah, like, it's your 7-day return is not that important.
Yeah, that's fair.
But
even your like 30-day return isn't that important. Like,
yeah, even at our age, 12 months isn't that important.
That's a fair point.
So, like, that would be the only other alternative is if you could just throw it. Actually, here's what you do.
Okay.
Go to the bank.
Yeah.
Get a car loan.
Sure.
Get a personal loan. Sorry, or
get a car loan.
Get a car loan for
and
like
then
$6,000.
Pay it off immediately. Get my credit like 100 points higher.
No, don't pay it off immediately because it's really low interest rates and you got good credit.
Sure.
Pay it off on its schedule.
Yeah.
So whatever, you put like 25% down. So you put down, let's say like $2,000, and then you pay the rest off in payments. So it costs you a bit of interest, but you build your credit, and then once you finish paying off that loan, you get another big bump to your credit, which is going to make it even easier to buy a home because you might actually have a hard time buying a house right now because you don't have that much depth to your credit.
Yeah.
Like you got some business loans and stuff, but like if you had a car under your name, great, and then take all that extra money that you're not putting into the car and throw that into investments, because even if you're doing 8-10%, that's still going to be less than whatever your interest rate on the car loan is going to be. So go get a car loan, build your credit.
Not that my credit's bad. Like my credit's like in the mid 700s.
Yeah, but it's not about getting higher points. It's about getting more shit on your credit.
Okay. I think I have like, I'm one more year before all my fucking collections are off my credit report.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I'm getting close. Like,
yeah, so like maybe wait till that point when you're like in a really strong position, then you go out and start buying like rental properties and shit like that.
Yeah.
See what happens after, like, because we're in like a really really hot market right now.
I guess like what if
it slows down?
I'm still a homeless man at heart.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to. There's a quote that's sad now, but there's a quote from Anthony Bourdain, the famous chef who ended up killing himself. But he said like, I never felt successful after I became successful. I always felt like I stole a nice car and I had to keep looking in my mirror to see if they were following me to get it back.
Yeah, imposter syndrome.
That's what he thought about his success. I feel like I kind of have feelings like that as well, where I like, maybe not I don't deserve it, because I feel like I do deserve it, but I feel like it won't last forever. Like it's fleeting almost.
Yeah, and that's another reason to fucking buy a car.
Why? What does that mean?
Because life is fleeting. Success is fleeting. Like, you're fucking 25 years old. Why not drive a $5,000 car that brings you a lot of joy?
You're making good arguments, I think.
Like, I understand the financial planner side of it is like every dollar you save now is worth $10,000 in the future. It's like, yeah, valid. This $5,000 could be $50,000 in the future, but also in the future you'll probably be like, yeah, I'd spend $50,000 to drive a cool Cadillac and be 25 again.
Yeah, I guess like what do they say? Like people on their deathbed aren't be like, oh, I wish I had more money.
Yeah, they're like, I wish I put more into my 401k and my Roth IRA. Like, no, like that's partly why I'm, I've lived a lot of years of my life broke, but also like I've lived a lot of years of my life fucking pedal to the metal, and I've had a great time. I've got a hell of a lot more life experience than a lot of people do. So, I mean, there's a lot of good reasons for it, a lot of good reasons against it, but from how hard I've seen you work and torture yourself over the years,
I deserve something.
I think you deserve a little bit of levity and something to like break the routine, break the monotony. And also, it's a COVID safe indulgence, because you get this car and the summertime sucks. Well, you can fucking get in this car, go hit the road, and just go cruising around. Like,
true.
Like relive some of your high school times when just like cruising the town was the most fun thing.
Yeah, because we couldn't stay at anyone's parents'
There's nothing
house.
to do.
They didn't want us to. Well, my parents didn't want us to hang around there, so we just drove around in circles for hours.
Right, that's basically like it is now.
I remember my friend would like. We would just cruise around, fucking around. He would like drop us off at like McDonald's, pick up his girlfriend, have sex with her, drop her back off, and then pick us back up. And then we keep cruising. Like,
that tracks.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like it's I guess like my kind of homeless brain goes like, okay, but take $5,000, I could live on a long time on that.
You're thinking survival.
If I needed to, yeah.
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 Realistically, that's not a problem for you anymore.
Which, yeah, I just...
like, your company is momentum.
But what if it stops? I don't know.
I mean, in theory it could, but...
like, I guess
if it does, sell the car. Like, fuck,
well, okay,
you could live in the car. It's roomy.
What I'm trying to do, though, is trying to make this conversation not just about the fucking car. Like, it's more about this kind of principle.
Right.
About, like, splurging. You know what I mean? But I guess, like, do you know anyone happy that's, like, super tight on their purse and doesn't spend any fucking money, right? I've spent
really, no.
I've spent more than $5,000. I've probably saved more than $5,000 by not going to the bar with you twice a week.
Yep.
Like,
definitely.
Like, literally, this podcast on, like...
I started a business with the money I saved.
Literally, this podcast we do once a week. Before this, we used to, like, go to the pub and get wasted and have these exact conversations, but spend $300. Like,
yeah, like 3-4 times a week sometimes.
It was fine. I want to go back to that. Can I? Oh, so I'm getting my vaccine tomorrow. Just kidding. So there was a press conference today, and they said we're going to start vaccinating everybody in these, frontline worker. Like, they didn't say frontline workers. They said like workers in specific industries,
essential services. I think it said.
Yeah. And I started reading it, and one of them's like food processing, food manufacturing, food sales. And so I just skipped it as I was reading because I'm like, oh, not that. And I'm like, wait. And I run over, and I'm in my office, run over to my fucking license on the wall. And my license to manufacture wine from the province, from the health department, not from the liquor department, from the health department, says food processing facility is exactly what it says on my license.
Fucking A.
So, do I work in a food processing facility? Who the fuck knows? I asked my people. I'll hear back in 6 to 8 weeks, probably. But
I would just apply for it.
I'm going to.
And then just take a picture of your license on the wall and be like, "Fuck you."
Well, and then I have my employees text me. They're like, "Does this apply to us?" I'm like, "I don't know." Like, so I might be able to get it right away.
It'd be awesome.
Which would be awesome because we're currently, you have to be younger than or older than 55.
Is it still 55? I thought they lowered it to 40.
No. That was just that extra. We had like 6,000 doses of the Identical one that were going to go bad. So they said anyone 40 and over can come get theirs if they did it today.
Oh, okay.
That was the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a extraneous circumstance. And still like 1,700 of those went to waste apparently.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway, but my parents both got theirs.
Sweet.
Yeah. My dad just got a second one and my grandma got hers. And so, yeah, that's cool.
And they love Microsoft now.
Yeah, it's so weird. So I went over there for dinner today, and my dad's just fucking talking to me about the new Surface Pro. The entire time. I didn't know he even knew about electronics.
Yeah, he had like a henna tattoo of Gates's face on his hand.
No, he just extended his palm, and a fucking hologram came out, like selling me the fucking Microsoft Surface. Yeah, I was getting really good Wi-Fi.
That 5G booster named Dad.
Yeah, I saw a good I think it was a TikTok that was summed up my feelings where it's this girl in a park and she's like cutting lines on her phone. She's like, I don't think I'm gonna get the vaccine, right? Like, I just don't know where it's from. Like, I don't know what's in it. He's like snorting lines of like whatever ketamine. Like, I just don't want that stuff in my body. So anyway, yeah, I'm not gonna get the vaccine. Like,
yeah.
So funny. That's pretty much like all these people. Every single person that I have personally seen post, "I'm not gonna get the vaccine," because they don't like whatever. Eats fast food fucking every day.
Yep.
Like, does fucking random fucking drug, like smokes fucking ditch weed. Like fucking like, man, these fucking idiots are like, oh yeah, fucking. Haven't you seen what they say on the internet? This is dangerous for you. And then go eat fucking McDonald's burgers that don't even get mold on them after 27 years. Like,
even with the blood clot studies,
6 people died out of 10 million, so can't do that. Too dangerous.
Yeah, like taking birth control is a risk factor like
10 times.
tenfold higher.
Yeah.
And getting COVID is a risk factor 1,000 times
Yeah.
higher.
Like,
so just look at, if I get COVID, I'm 1,000 times more likely to get it than if I get the vaccine.
Yeah, it's, man, people are dumb. Like,
Math's hard, though, to be fair.
Someone asked me, some, like, anti-vaxxer asked me if I was going to get the vaccine. And I said, what did I say? I would snort the first dose and then fucking squirt the second dose in my cocktail if it meant I could go to the bar anytime faster.
I would rail the first one and boof the second.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Let's fucking go. I don't give a shit. What are they going to do? Kill me? Great. What are they going to do? Put a fucking chip in my arm? I already fucking... You know how many cameras and mics are on us right now? Like, several.
You don't care about being watched.
I don't give a shit about being watched.
Yeah, you don't give a shit about being... You live your life on Facebook, boomer. Like,
Yeah.
What is there to learn?
Dude, I jerk off... Never mind. I was going to say, I jerk off for people on weird webcams all the time. I'm not worried about them watching me.
Yeah, that's just good, clean fun, though.
There's a good Simpsons bit where Homer's talking to Lisa, and he's like, Lisa, you need to trust your government. And then he takes a lamp, and he's like, that's what I do.
That's a good bit, yeah.
It's pretty good. But, I don't know. I will stand behind the... I think, okay, I don't think we... Okay. I think we talked about this last episode. Maybe we didn't, but I made a post that was like, I'm like, these fucking guys that think COVID's a conspiracy when the government can't get anything. Like, they're too incompetent for this to be a conspiracy.
Yeah, they'd run it like MPI.
They run it like fucking public insurance. They'd run it like fucking permits and planning. They'd run it like the DMV. Like, that's how they would run it. I got a fucking 7-day ban on Facebook for that.
Oh, that's so... like, who's reporting this shit?
I was a bot. Well, someone has to report it, I guess. But I think they saw COVID, they saw the word hoax, and then they were like, oh, COVID hoax, banned me for fucking 7 days.
Right.
But, like, the government
Thanks for trying, Facebook.
You really think the government is competent enough to, like, hide chips in your fucking... So...
Try to convince 97 people in a room to do something for the next 4 hours.
Now
See what happens.
Now multiply that by 1,000, right?
Well, just 97 people. Try to convince 97 people
Why 97?
to do something for 4 hours.
Why 97? Why 4 hours? What are these numbers?
Just do it. Just try it.
So let's look back at the smartest, most brilliant, best manipulator to ever put chips in people's minds.
Elon Musk.
No, Sheev Palpatine.
I think you say Shagmar.
Sheev Palpatine, Darth Sidious, under the guise of being a senator, was able to put brain chips in an entire army of clones. It was a whole thing. He was pretending to be Sifo Dyas, and they manipulated the Jedi Council into... It was a whole thing. But anyway, all the clones had brain chips, right?
Spoiler alert, also.
It came out 30
Spoiler
years
alert.
ago. Watch the Clone Wars TV show. It's awesome. But they all had brain chips that made them... so when Sidious executed Order 66, the brain chips went... Zip, boop, boop, and then they killed the Jedi. Even Darth Sidious, who's way smarter than any politician I know, fucked up. Like, Rex took his chip out. Fucking Fives almost, like, discovered the chip and almost fucking blew up the entire thing. Yoda was this fucking close to finding out the whole plot. Like, when fucking, what was it, Tup? Who was it? Put it on the screen right now. Who was it? Jamie? That fucking, the chip went off while they were fighting. Whatever. Anyway. So they're putting 5G chips in our arm right now, right?
Yeah.
With this vaccine.
For free, mind you.
You think not a single one of these is going to fuck up? We're not going to find out about this? I don't understand what the logic is.
Look at how angry everyone is about 6 blood clot cases out of 7 million people. Like, take that level of anger Imagine if it was valid.
The only anti-mask, anti-vaccine argument that I can subscribe to is that the government should not be forcing anyone to do anything.
Which they're not.
Yeah, no, the vaccine is completely what's the opposite of mandatory? Voluntary. Right now.
For now.
Well, and then I've heard counter arguments that are like, yeah, but making us like so we can't go into businesses isn't pretty much making it mandatory. Yeah, fuck you. Businesses should have the fucking right.
Again, it comes down to the what do they call it? The right to police, the right to enforce versus like the right to govern and create laws. Like there's a difference between civil law and criminal. And
yes.
And it's a criminal issue because you're hurting other people if you commit this act. And people are like, it's just you're infringing on my rights. It's like, no, you're infringing on other people's safety.
Yeah.
Get your head out of your fucking asshole.
Yeah. Which is, we're not going to win this debate. You know what I mean? Like,
is it even a debate?
Yeah.
I think it's just like screeching.
Dude, 20% of people
Karens on both sides.
20% of the people aren't getting the vaccine.
Yeah, but that was like 60 6 months ago.
No, I think it's like 60 in America still. People here are a bit smarter, I think.
Yeah, well, on the bright side, you get herd immunity either way because that 60% will just get COVID.
No, but here's the thing. You get herd immunity either way, and then they're like, see, I didn't need the vaccine. Like,
yeah, it's great.
Man, you can't win, right? Because either scenario.
Like I think I said this right when the pandemic started. Like it was like day 3 after the first lockdown procedure started. I was sitting talking to my mom having dinner, and I just look at her. I'm like, this is gonna turn out badly no matter what happens, because if all of the restrictions and measures and whatever the government does, if it works really well, people are going to be pissed because it was an overreaction and an overreach.
Yeah, because look at this. We locked down everything and there was no cases. Right. So they locked down everything for no reason. But
and look, hardly anybody even died.
But it was because they locked down. Yeah.
Right. And then I'm like, but if they don't do it, they'll get fucking doxxed because they stood by while people just started dying. Like, imagine if this issue was never made political. Imagine if Trump wasn't in office. Mm-hmm. Imagine if he never made masks political. Imagine if he never brought up the vaccine thing. Imagine if this was never made fucking political, and him doing it gave permission to all these other dictators around the world to do the same thing.
I'm almost 100% sure nobody in Canada would be talking about this if Trump wasn't.
No, 100%. Like,
because nobody in Canada is talking about. I guess like Maxime Bernier is.
Like,
but
what's the opposite of People's Magazine Man of the Year? Like,
douchebag of the day.
I think Behind the Bastards, like being a bastard on the pod, I think is like the equivalent of being Man of the Year.
You're saying it should be Trump?
Yeah, like the guy single-handedly managed to fuck up.
Well, yeah, because if
science,
literally,
we're living in a post-fact age. It's fine.
That's what somebody was like. Someone was arguing with me, and they're like, "I thought you were a fucking anti-government guy, Willows. You're fucking bowing to the government." I'm like, "No, I'm listening to fucking doctors." Like, what do you talk? Virologists are talking about that. Like, I don't listen to what the government tells me. I'm listening to like what. Man,
we don't blindly defy the government, just cops.
No, I blindly defy the government constantly. But I also know when to play the game. I could blindly defy the government and just sell liquor illegally and just bootleg on the fucking street. But I play the system because it makes me a lot more money. Like,
well, that means the system's working? If the reward structure, I mean, like, technically, like, if you go the legal way and you make more money than the illegal way, that's a win on the governing side.
But if I made... No, because I could make a lot of fucking money with a legal cocaine store.
Right.
But I don't have that option.
You know what I mean? We're not talking about cocaine, though. We're just thinking about, like, liquor specifically. Like, because I guess the reason being because the system has matured to the point where it's more rewarding to be within the ecosystem than to be without.
Well, I'm in like 100 retailers on
exactly.
shelf space. Like, how am I supposed to do that?
That's what I mean.
No,
like,
but
it takes about 15 years after legalization for the underground and illegal to become less convenient and less prosperous than the legal.
Price is right, which Canadian marijuana is proving.
Well, even so, like they're saying, give it 15 years, and it won't matter what the price is.
That's fair. Well, I guess I know people that
it's maturity of the market and like a completely new generation coming up that doesn't even know where to buy illegal weed because it's not, it's not incentivized.
Well, I guess like I have friends that still buy illegal weed, but then I also have friends that I remember when legalization happened, and they're like, nah, fuck it, I'll just keep buying from my dealer. And now I see them with legal weed. I'm like, I thought you were just buying from a dealer. Like, yeah, but they only have one kind. Like, I was in a sativa mood. Like,
that's what I mean. Like the maturity of the market.
He's like, it's like craft beer now.
Yeah,
because I don't know anything about marijuana. I don't really give a shit. I don't like it. But fucking my friend was telling me, he's like, oh, this they have crazy names. Like, oh, this is unicorn poop and fucking like pink whatever and like all this shit. They have all funny names and. I don't know, do they taste different? I don't know. Like,
yeah, and I'm drinking a Walter Malone and a Juicy.
Yeah, like, we're already there with the craft beer. Does marijuana taste different? Can you do that?
Yes. I mean, it all smells pretty skunky to me, but yes, there's definitely difference in
taste?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I guess, like, you get flavored, like, cigars.
Oh, yeah.
Is that a thing with marijuana? Like, flavored?
I think there's restrictions on that.
There's people yell, because they don't want kids to smoke it.
There's also, there's not a lot of... Yeah,
because we just banned...
There's not a lot of freedom on flavoring cigars either.
Canada, well, we used to.
Yeah.
Canada banned cigarillos. What's the famous one in the States? Swisher Sweets?
Yeah, and like menthol
menthol, those are all banned here because
they're starting to talk about that now in the States. Actually.
The argument is it makes it it's a gateway drug to smoking.
Which I love gateway drugs. They're my favorite kind.
Me too.
Dude, they're actually
business idea. We have a street in Winnipeg called Gateway. Fucking drugstore. Gateway drugs. Holy fuck.
And it's actually a weed store.
I'm putting that in the fucking business idea. Oh, and it's a weed store. I'm putting that in the business idea folder.
Oh, that's great. There's a road named Gateway, by the way. It's close to my house.
That's what I said. It's how I started this.
I thought you said name a street Gateway.
No. I said there is a street named Gateway.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Like we can just start with one that exists.
It's the opposite of Rothesay.
Yeah.
No, it's Raleigh, right? Raleigh and Gateway run parallel to each other with a fucking...
Yeah, it's weird.
It's because there used to be a train track there. Yeah. I grew up over there.
Now it's a walking path.
But multiple people that I know that have been visiting here from the States thought that like Gateway was one way, Raleigh was the other way. Or Rothesay was the other way.
Yeah, that would make sense.
And like getting honked at like for going the wrong way because they... Yeah.
That would make sense.
Fucking Winnipeg roads. I'm going to cut all that out because none of you give a shit about Winnipeg roads.
So, Gateway drugs.
Yes. We do a weekly mastermind call with a couple of our other business friends. And our friend Jean-Luc was basically... He was asking us questions about this podcast.
Yep.
And he's like, nah, man, you got to get that shit under half an hour. I'm not listening to fucking long form.
It's got to be more structured.
I'm not listening to long form fucking things. It's got to be shorter. And we were kind of... I let him talk. I let him put out his thoughts. But my counterpoints were basically, number one, we're not trying to... Because he was coming at it from because he's a very practical, very, like, task-oriented, like... Everything that every reaction or everything that he does has a deliberate reaction he's trying to get, right?
Yeah.
So he was basically coming from the point like, well, that podcast isn't going to make any money, basically, essentially.
Yeah, it's not going to get any traction. I mean, just two guys talking on some microphones, it's not going to get popular, which, I mean, maybe he's right, but
well, I think he said something like, well, unless you have a good personality. I'm like, well, good thing we have a good personality then. But we were basically saying, like, we do this, like, for lack of a better phrase, like, it sounds cliche, but we do this for ourselves. Like, this is more, you know, working out our problems. And I think, I don't know if I said it, I think I did. Like, there's something to be said about being able to keep on a schedule and do this every week.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's, and you said, like, even if we delete the first fucking 50 episodes because they were cringe, like, you know, like, you know.
Because our future political careers are sewered if they stay on the internet.
It was good of us. I think this is productive in both of our lives to, like, set this amount of time a week to do something productive. And you had a really good line that I liked where you were like, doing shitty is better than doing nothing or something. You're like, well, doing this is better than doing nothing. Like, we're making more progress.
Yeah,
than fucking
doing a podcast shitty is better than not doing a podcast.
Yeah, exactly. And and we basically said all these points to him, and he's like, oh yeah, honestly, I didn't think of it like that. Because he was thinking of it like how to get the most listeners, how to get the most money, how to get the most sponsorships.
He's like, what's the ROI? What's the return on time?
Yeah.
Like,
and how I see it is that a lot of time invested in this actually takes time off of other things. Like, you know what I mean? Like, having someone to bounce ideas off and having an outlet for kind of some energy actually makes me more productive in my actual business.
Yeah, and I brought up the point of, for the last, like, 5 years of my life, I've had an outlet for, you know, being able to speak and be extroverted and, like, be in front of people and, you know, perform to some extent. And I've not been able to host events. I have not been emceeing stuff. I've not been teaching classes or seminars, doing coaching, or hosting meetings, you know, leading a team, running daily sessions, running, you know, long form, you know, those Friday long meetings that whatever you just brainstorm.
Yeah, we have a whiteboard of
you whiteboard shit. Yeah. You have a good time. Like, I have no outlets like that
outlet
anymore.
For your,
and
like extrovert, like.
Well, that it's an outlet, and also, you know, it's, if you don't exercise the muscle, it atrophies.
That's a good point too.
And right now, all the, like, talking to someone who's been legitimately quarantined for whatever the last 12 months, you know, conversation can be clunky. It can be weird.
Yeah.
So I think the same thing goes for being able to actually, like, just speak into the void.
Yeah, I agree with everything you're saying. I think that when we started this podcast, we didn't really have any delusions of grandeur. Like, we knew exactly what we were doing.
Which was drink.
Yeah, which is what we were doing anyway. Like, we said this episode 1. We said,
and also other benefit, it makes sure I get in my quota of alcohol.
True, which is important.
Yeah, very important. That you cannot
discount
forget that.
Can't discount that. Yeah. Like, I think it's important. Okay, like, what's the fucking ROI of a hobby? Like, what's
mental health?
Yeah, and I would argue that this is good for my mental health.
Yeah.
Like, what's my fucking ROI, JL, of fucking crocheting a squirrel? Oh, fuck, but I would sell it.
I was going to say, you go to a farmer's market, you start a booth.
I would make a business and sell the fucking crocheted squirrels. Fuck. Okay, I'm a bad example, but...
That's why we have to do a podcast, because
because I can't crochet.
Because you can't just go hawk it. I mean, you could, but...
I mean, I could.
It'd be very hard.
So here's what I'm going to do.
It's very hard to sell something you can get for free on the internet.
Here's all... Counterpoint, OnlyFans.
If we could do this topless, maybe we could do that.
If you're watching the YouTube version of this, or the video version of this podcast on youtube.com/votewillows,
you already plugged that.
You can see that I took my shirt off.
Completely.
Completely. I am naked.
It's like fling bag.
My dick is out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Fling Mag, where they have like they have like a podcast, but then like if you want to see the video version of their podcast uncensored, where it's just like these two hot chicks or whatever doing the whole podcast topless, you have to actually subscribe to like their
Patreon, probably.
Like I think it's Patreon. I was gonna say it's not OnlyFans, it's Patreon.
Oh, that's disgusting. Where exactly is this?
Fling, just look up Fling Mag.
Fling Mag. Yeah, this is disgusting. This flingmag.com. This is absolutely, who would post that? Something like that on flingmag.com.
/podcast
/
subscribe /
use coupon code alcohol beyond this point.
It's deplorable.
It's deplorable. Yeah,
no, we don't have the assets to pull it off. It's okay.
Anything, yeah, like I'm pretty handsome, but like most of my assets are like my beard, right? Like you can already see them.
It's already showing.
Like it's already showing, yeah. But anyway,
it's like it blurs it out for the whole podcast, and then on Patreon it's like unblurred.
Yeah, no, I follow.
That's a good one.
I follow a girl who does like sells nudes and stuff.
Yep.
And she'll post a picture of her like at the beach, and she'll censor her feet.
Yeah.
And people are like, "Why do you censor your feet?" She's like, "Fucking pay for that shit."
Yep.
Like I'm like, dude, like that's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, you don't get it for free.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, we could censor like what our taste in alcohol is for like the hardcore winos, where like they just need to know what you're drinking. Be like, I'll tell you if you subscribe.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about. I think that shout out to all of you people listening. I think that we have a pretty. I was saying we broke 20 unique listeners in the last podcast.
I think that's way more people than I could get to listen to me at a bar when I was drunk.
100%, that's more people than I could get to sit and listen to me rant for 2 hours. So
1,000%.
Yeah, so
it's jokes on you guys.
And I know a few of you that are listening. Thank you for listening. We really appreciate it. You've sent in feedback. You've given us advice, and we really appreciate. Even like I have an acquaintance that I don't really know that like inboxed me on like Instagram or something, because he like doesn't have my phone number, and was like, yeah, so at 56 minutes in episode 21, you said this and this and this. What exactly did you mean by that? And I'm like, you listen to like 51 minutes of the podcast? Like, yeah, I listen to every episode. I'm like, oh, that's
nice.
Yeah, like shout out if you're listening. You probably are, so shout out. But I don't know, man. Like it's
I'm just pretty convinced that this is going to be cannon fodder for my political career.
Well, no, so we always talk about documenting.
Yeah.
And I find that very, very important. That's why I post on social media, my Snapchat constantly, because I think that documenting my journey is really important.
I'm gonna counterpoint my own argument right now and say that one of the things that gives Bernie Sanders a lot of credibility is he's been the same person his whole life.
That's a good point.
So when I go run for political office,
they're gonna be like,
I'm going to go super hard on the issues I believe in,
and then they're gonna
and then they're like, oh, you're a political hack, but I'll be like, nah, bro, listen to this podcast that I recorded 27 years ago.
Yeah, I was exactly the fucking same.
Yeah, like, just tell me that I'm inconsistent. Tell me that I'm a hack. Tell me that I'm being paid off.
Yeah.
Like, just fucking listen to this. I've always been this person.
That's something I said yesterday when JL was saying that we're idiots for making a podcast. I said my personal brand is kind of authenticity.
Right.
Like I don't really censor what I say. Like I kind of audit. Like I don't try to just be a troll for troll's sake. Like I try to have
you don't try to curate what you say.
Yeah, like I don't. Yeah, like I try to be authentic. Like everything I post. Like you follow these fucking people that are like trying to be life coaches or real estate coaches or whatever.
I hate them all.
And they're posting these fucking like long captions on their page. It's like a selfie, but it's like, why does the earth spin? It's actually 3% APR. Well, you know what I mean? Like it's these fucking fake deep people, or these people that join MLM companies and now they're health experts all of a sudden.
My favorite place to get health advice is at a seminar.
Yeah, exactly. So
Dr. Oz,
you know,
great example of a
but grifter.
yeah,
But you know these people I'm talking about.
yeah,
They are not authentic. They're disingenuous. So when people look back at my projects, I want them to see that I was at least authentic. There's many times I'm ignorant all the time because I'm still learning, but I'm never disingenuous, or at least I try not to be.
and that's why we don't try to make curated content, because we're not really interested in curating anything right now.
Yeah, at least right now we're busy. Like,
well, not just that we're busy. It's like, if there's anything that was more important than what we're busy doing, we'd be doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is what I think like a lot of podcasts are born out of, like sports podcasts, where they like will almost sacrifice, they'll, instead of working hard at their job and advancing their career, they'll be like spending their time when their boss isn't looking, whatever, watching sportscasts and looking up stats and doing research on the sports. Like, the problem for us is that we're already spending all day doing what we're wanting to be doing, and this is like kind of pushed to the side, and it's a byproduct
of our success
of two people that are focusing on themselves,
which is the only reason I think it works.
Yeah,
because that's what we're trying to illustrate to anyone who's listening. This is that this is the journey.
Yeah, to
be successful.
This isn't two podcasters talking business. This is two business guys trying to podcast.
That's like that is a soundbite right there. Jesus.
Finally, after 33 episodes, I get a soundbite.
Let's soundbite that. The last one I clipped was you saying that everyone has a gay moment, and then I zoom in on my face and I'm like, no, and then it zooms in on your face, you're like
I like that moment because I'm definitely gonna get a question about that at some point in my life. They're gonna be like, when was it? And I don't want to have that conversation.
Yeah, I'm never. Okay, anyway, but
I love it though.
Clip that, Willows. That was a good soundbite. I forgot what you said. Oh yeah, we're businessmen trying a podcast. No, yeah, well, because like we're not
podcasters trying a business.
I don't know about I've seen people online before. It's the people that like will tweet something and then delete it if it doesn't get enough likes.
Yeah.
Right? It's these people like that make a YouTube video and actually put an effort and then take it down if it doesn't get enough views.
Yeah.
Or if people don't like it, right? 20 people listen to this, I'm fucking overjoyed. Like, this is like I guess I'm typically a very easy man to please. And not like that. And also like that, but
let's be honest.
I don't know. Like I feel like just making myself do this every single week is like a huge accomplishment.
It's like our mastermind group. Like it's literally starting to pay dividends.
Yeah, like
literally paying dividends because we're turning our sometimes pointless weekly discipline group chat. Like we just do it. We push shit aside to do it every week at this point. Like we don't even question the value because we've just been doing it for long enough. It's become habit, and now it's to the point where like it's coming full circle where we're turning this habit into value.
Yeah, that was week 47 we just did last week.
Yeah, so we're now turning this habit into value, where, we're trading information and helping each other out to buy stocks and certain investments and currencies and shit coins and whatever.
Well, I think like the mastermind and this podcast specifically, I think I've like gotten genuine value and taken that to my business. Like there's something to be said about, especially for small business owners, when you're doing everything, like working in a startup. Like you've worked in startups before, but your job was your job, right?
Yeah.
And now that you own a business, look at everything you do, right? Like you're on the, and like but like my business, even more so because I have employees as well that I'm responsible for, right? But like, you're doing everything.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing the sales, I'm doing the marketing, I'm doing the bottling, I'm doing the manufacturing, I'm doing like like I'm fortunate because my partner and I can split
that part,
everything, but you as a sole proprietor can't.
Yeah, I literally do everything.
So there's something to be said.
And I'm good at all of it, by the way.
Even the accounting.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, that's literally a thing I've done for startups is fix their books.
You're the perfect man.
I know it's exhausting.
I get away. I cruise on just my charm.
Literally, you don't do anything.
And that's why we make a good team.
Yeah.
But there's something to be said. All the fucking shit you got going on at your in a day in your business. There's something to be said about just like disseminating all of it, disseminating all of it.
I love aiding D-semen.
Okay. Like in this format where we just get rid of shit in our head.
Yeah, because if you don't actually try to look back and force yourself to contemplate your last 7 days, like once you the listener contemplate your last 7 days and disseminate value for someone else.
Yeah.
Try it right now. I dare you. It's harder than you think.
Yeah, like
so if you think this podcast is easy, fuck you. Like,
I love you, listeners. I think you're really smart and talented.
But also fuck you because
that's the shtick. Is I love the audience and you hate them.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
It's a good shtick.
I loathe you.
It's a good shtick.
Yeah.
I love the audience.
I think being able to disseminate your whatever 7 days experience in anything is important, and like this is what a lot of this is why blogging and vlogging and like with these TikTok stars and influencers and shit, like that's why it's real work at a certain point because they have to create value and create content out of everything in their lives. Like I don't know if you've ever been in that position, but like I've been kind of tangent to that sort of lifestyle. It's bloody exhausting.
100%. I know people that have.
Yeah, it's so difficult. Like because whether you're on vacation,
you got to make your life seem fucking.
Yeah, you got to make it. You got to be interesting all the time. Like I feel like a bunch of people out there feel that pressure anyways, and they don't even have the fame.
How do you think people wake up after 40 years, and they're like, "Oh shit, I haven't done anything with my life." Yeah. It's because they don't look back every week and reevaluate their fucking choices.
No gratitude.
Which is 100% what we do here is look back on our choices of the past week, reflect on them. If they were a bad choice, Willow's going to call you an idiot.
Yep.
And then go forward with that. But there's people that do the same.
Think about I got to do something interesting before next week.
Yeah. And think about people that don't do that. Every single week they do the exact same, until they're retired and they're like, oh shit, I wish I did something different my entire life.
And we effectively do this twice per week because we did this last night as well.
Yeah, we do it in our mastermind call and then we do it again on the podcast.
Yeah, like I was describing a mastermind call to a friend and he thought I was talking about a podcast.
Fair.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, where's the link? And I'm like, what? I'm like, oh no, it's just something we do.
Yeah.
So I think
I in conclusion, I think there's a lot of value to this.
In conclusion, business tip of the week.
Oh, there we go.
I would say live your life like you have a podcast for a week.
I like it.
And try to think about, actually right now, just like think about your last 7 days. And if you were put on the spot and if you were in the room right here, hi friend, sit down, grab the second microphone, say, what could you share with the audience right now? Like, what's something you want to talk about? What's something that's, what's the deal with? Or something profound, something sad, something happy, something that pisses you off. What is that thing in the last 7 days? How would you share it? What would you say? Because that is a mental exercise I think is infinitely valuable.
I think that's really I think that's really good. That's a good business tip of the week.
Also, as a specifically business tip, every time I used to do seminars, And I mean, we would fucking make it rain on these weekends. We'd pull down 6 figures in a 2-day time frame. But at the end of every seminar, whether we pulled down 30 grand or we pulled down 300 grand, we would sit down, we'd have our giant post-it pad, like literally giant post-it, and we just put down good, bad, and the ugly. And we do good, bad, and the ugly analysis on every event that we did. And I like it because it's a good, negative, really negative, which is kind of how you're feeling at the end of doing something for a whole weekend, even if it was successful. So the good is like, okay, we did these things okay. The bad is we did these things kind of not okay, and the ugly is this really hurt.
Yeah.
If you doing that on like a per week basis or per event basis was very, very constructive. So if you can do something like that, if you have a cyclical type of business, if you have a repetitive business, do something like this to make the repetition meaningful. Do it with your team, get everybody involved, and kind of force each category to be filled out. Don't let good stand empty. Don't let bad stand empty. Don't let ugly stand empty. You have to fill them all out.
Okay.
So do that as a practice with your business or personally for yourself.
So I think I'm going to try and tie because we always try to make I guess we're making the business tip of the week a standing stay segment now.
Yeah.
Where it's going to be a segment every week. But we want it to relate to something that we're currently going through in business. Sure. Or life or whatever. And so I'm going to tie into what you just said, because I think this is something, having that call yesterday was kind of when JL was like attacking, he was trying to give criticism, like constructive criticism.
That's what we do. That's the point of the call.
We're pretty aggressive with each other on purpose because
we are.
Because it helps us, right?
Yeah.
And we all have very thick skin. We can all take it. We know you're not actually attacking me, like personally, right?
You're challenging me.
Exactly, which we all get turned on when we challenge each other. So
true.
So that kind of gave me a little bit of introspection, which is why I brought it up on the podcast. I wanted to talk about it because I kind of wanted to just air my thoughts out. But I think having that kind of discourse with people that I respect is one of the most productive things that, like, this podcast and that call is one of the most, is the thing that's been able to get me through COVID.
Yeah.
So I think I want to say, don't have it structured, but why can't you just talk to your friends? I think that we're coming.
I would argue say do have it structured, because
you can have it structured, yeah. Like schedule a call maybe with your friend. There's a business.
Yeah, just start with one and then try to do regularly.
Have no auspice. But say right now, here's your business tip. Text your friend because I think I've heard this from people before, where they're like, they feel like they're annoying their friends.
Right.
By making like
plans.
They don't want to FaceTime me.
Right.
Well, especially now, because I've heard people like, oh, I'll talk to my friend once COVID's done. We can go back and meet up at the bar, have a drink.
Right. That's the beauty. They don't want to. That's the beauty of a standing commitment, though, because you don't feel like you're putting someone out. Each person feels is equally committed. Yeah. Is equally put out.
Yeah. So
that's why standing commitments, I think, are more valuable, because if you constantly are asking this to happen, and the other person is maybe for the same reasons that you need this to happen, they're constantly averting and like hiding whatever, and their habit is not to reach out, but their habit is to close up. You both need the same thing.
And then that's like an intermediary that's forcing it. So that's gonna be my tip, is that schedule one for now that you can talk to someone you respect, one or more people, and don't have a fucking goal with it. Just say,
I want to talk to you more.
I've been on fucking COVID lockdown. I need to talk to you more. I guarantee you they're going to feel the same way.
Yeah, I value your time. I value your counsel.
Yeah.
Worth $1 million.
Worth $1 billion.
At least.
At least.
Zimbabwe bucks.
I wish. So I also wish that you would be thankful for listening to the That was a bad transition. Thank you for listening to
Where are you going with this? Are you roasting me?
Alcohol Beyond This Point, the podcast business
where we
alcohol, whatever.
talk about it. Podcasts, you, me, Willows, Tyler, at the Willows, VOTWILWS, at all the things.
You missed a few letters there.
No, I didn't.
You said VOTWILWS. Okay, all right. Vote Willows on everything that he just said it, and Tyler _scram the builder.
At all the other things.
At all the other things. And alcohol.
Hit me up at 204.
Alcohol Beyond This Point on Instagram, Alcohol Beyond This Point podcast on Facebook. If you're listening this far, thank you. And also, if you can comment somewhere where you're listening from, that would be awesome. I guess.
Rate, comment, subscribe. Hit up my OnlyFans.
You wish.
Yeah. Rate me. She rates dogs.
Ooh,
It's honestly the best Twitter.
We rate dogs, #1.